We're also messed up, fallen human beings, that we also have our flaws in that, and acknowledging and being real with people.
As Christians trying to connect with the world, so to speak, if we're able to eliminate our own judgments as much as possible, that we're going to see more breakthrough.
Quote that says, tell people about Jesus and if necessary, use words. What's your thoughts on that? Like, do you think that that's been taken the wrong way sometimes, where people go, I'm just never going to talk about Jesus? Or do you think that our life should actually reflect Jesus so much in most scenarios? I mean, obviously, if you're talking to kids at a skate park, you don't have weeks to show them the fruit of your life. But do you think there are situations where it is that long game? And how do we show that we are like Jesus?
I think it's like what the point you touched on earlier, it's still stuck with me of, being human. I think that's such just the simplest way to put it. If you take Christianity out, just take us as human beings, we all crave connection. We all want to belong with something. That's just built into our DNA. God gave us that for a reason, and the purest, perfect form of that is through Jesus, and it is through relationship with people, and if we take that just in its basic form, that us as humans, we want to connect with people, we want to do life with each other, we don't want to just do, yes, there's moments where we do seasons with certain people, but we want to play those end games, those long games with each other, that we want to do life with each other and just build those connections and just have that deep humanness connection with each other there. So I think it's understanding that we may get the opportunities where it's 5 minutes in a skate park and that's our moment there, that, God's called you to that and to do that there. But other people, it's an entire life. It's over years. It's in the previous episode how you shared with your friend from work, it was for your season of working with each other over years and all that, And it's those bits there of understanding that, hey, we're not doing the short little sprint, we're actually doing the long run, God's called us to run the race, what I'm saying? That we're going to run it well, that we're going to do life with people through the ups, through the downs, through the good, through the bad, the messy, the ugly, all of that there. But it's just staying firm, having that genuine relationship with people that we just stay in the test of time. I think that, just builds a deepness and a greater connection that, using words is super important, to preach the gospel 100%. But our actions is the one that's actually going to ferment it over time and actually show that, in all that we do.
That's good. I was just thinking about my journey outside of the church or the bubble. The perspective that I had of Christians was judgment.
Yeah.
That's what it was. I thought, these people, I'm doing drugs, whatever it is, these people are just judging me. I remember even going to church, for the first time, kind of trying to reconnect with God, and I just freaked out. I didn't want to be there. And I feel like when we're, as Christians, trying to connect with the world, so to speak, if we're able to eliminate our own judgments as much as possible, that we're going to see more breakthrough. And I can put my hand up and say that I'm a hypocrite. Absolutely. Yeah. Right?
I'll join you.
Right? It's actually really difficult not to, when we know that doing life in a particular way by a particular guideline and standard is the truth and the way to go about doing things, to not then apply that to the outside world is just a difficult kind of thing.
Acknowledging our humanness as all that. We're also messed up, fallen human beings, that we also have our flaws in that, and acknowledging and being real with people. I think just being real and human,
It takes humility though, doesn't it? But I think back to the Bible, it doesn't say judge one another. It just says love one another. Like at the end of the day, that's what we're called to do, right?
Yes, sure. I actually do have an example that comes to my mind as we're talking about like just showing actions and not really having to say lots of words. When I was living overseas in the States for 2 years, I had a friend and we were really close, like best friends, and she was Italian. And we became close so quickly, but we were friends for the whole year. And so most days we were together, like every single day. We had our boys going places. And I think, I don't remember actually saying to her, I'm a Christian, and or even saying Jesus. And I think the Holy Spirit was just like showing me I can be shown by just how you live your life. And I remember this moment of like, it was probably 6 months, and I'm always praying. I'm like, Jesus, please, this is my like Holy Spirit, like when? And it's like, I think he was just going, wait, like, let's just, you do what you've always done and continue living your life as you do for me. And she will see that. And I just remember she literally was the one that brought up the conversation, was like, hey, random conversation, but I feel like you know this because you're a Christian, right? And I'm like, oh, yes.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay, Holy Spirit, like we're getting into gear.
Yeah.
Like this is a moment.
Opportunity,
Yeah. And I'm like,
Go, Holy Spirit,
stressing,
activate.
panicking, but also like, yeah, so excited. And so it was, I think that's like a example that comes to mind of like, man, maybe she did see the fruits of not just me, yes, in my humanness, because I totally failed, but she just saw me apologize and be like, this is why I need Jesus so much more, because I'm human and I know I fail. And so, yeah, and maybe something come out of that later on, nothing that from that conversation, but it was that seed and that stepping stone towards, okay, cool. And just seeing the fruit of that, which was so cool. But yeah.
And going off of that, I've had times where it's like, you know, I used to work in an industry where you just get in really hard situations with families, and I've had mums crying to me going, what am I going to do? And inside everything wants to be like, well, Jesus, you know, like you want to just give that answer. But like knowing that's not what that person needs right now, no one wants you to just in their mind slap a Band-Aid on it and move on, you know? And so it's being conscious of that and sometimes listening to Holy Spirit and going, you know, right now it's not to give the answer, but it's to listen.
Yeah.
And so, you know, that quote that you said earlier, like, yeah, sometimes it is just what people use to not share the gospel ever because they can just be a nice person. But at other times, it really is so important not to just make people feel like that's the only goal you have.
Totally.
Because it's like the thing, like what you mentioned there, I don't know the situation, but you know, if someone's hungry, you know what I'm saying, and there's big on the side, you're not gonna be like, Jesus bless you, let me tell you about Jesus. The person's hungry, like, be a Christian and go that out, what Jesus would do in that situation. You know what I'm saying? Feed that person, love on that person. That's, yes, Jesus is the ultimate need and will fill all of our things in life, but in that moment, that's what the person needs. They need that. We need to be those Christians that are doing those things and then sharing Jesus at the same time. I don't think it's a mutually exclusive. I think it's you do it simultaneously and you do it in the right time, in the right season, and see that need, like you said.
And in saying that, I do look back and think, did I miss my shot? Like, you know, I didn't get to present the gospel to that person really ever. I feel like anytime I sort of poked around it, it was shut down. And so I look back and think, oh, like, I'm not really involved with them anymore, and I always wonder. But you have to just trust, you know, trust that the Holy Spirit's leading you.
Yeah.
And you're still an example of who couldn't do it with your words, but you were there to help them and
You were
still
meeting a need still.
Yeah, I love it.
I love that idea of meeting that practical need before trying to meet the spiritual need.
So awesome.
Joyful.